You know what it reminded me of?
Four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It reminded me of something.
Oh God, here we go.
It
No, I mean, I can't wait. What did it remind you of?
Story time.
Story time. It's story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
What was that? Did you hear that? I hear that sound all the time. That sort of semi-musical kind of like. What is that? Anyway.
Is that your brain?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all up here. It's all up here. It's all up here.
Wow.
So,
speaking of turning points.
Yeah, turning points. Yeah. A U-turn in my own brain. So, it reminded me of Armed Response.
Oh.
Which, very old film. And you might want to look this up.
It's not that old.
Oh, really? Look it up, dude. It's got to be pretty old. Armed Response.
Whoa, there's a remake?
That's the original. Sorry. Keep going. Oh, 86. Yeah, there you go.
That's not old.
86?
Well,
Okay.
when people say a really old film, I think of like Charlie Chaplin or something with the potatoes.
Fred Olin Ray. So we're working in Chinatown with that dip right there. see that dip right there? David Carradine.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing you have to understand is Carradine to me was
Kung Fu master, right?
Right. He was the Kung Fu master and it was all about peace and the thing is they would interview him, at his house and his house would have no furnishings. And it was just a mat that he slept on,
Yep.
Literally they interviewed him before in Life magazine or one of the Time or one of the, blah, 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 blah. So this pure white house, like Japanese style, very austere, and here's the mat that he sleeps on. He didn't sleep with a pillow, and all the rest of that crap. It was as
he lived it
Asianly pretentious as you possibly could get. So he was my hero. I mean, I thought he was so cool. So I get on this film, Armed Response. Fred Olin Ray directed it, and this is one of Fred Olin Ray's kind of like moves into the big time. Now he was known for, I was working with Tazo Bauer, and Tazo Bauer had worked with Fred Olin Ray before, and he was famous for selling motion pictures that were undeveloped. He would go up and he would shoot the whole film, and he would take really brilliant stills of it all the way through, and then he would sell it with the script and the story and the stills, and then as soon as he got like the down payment on the money for it and stuff, he'd develop it and finish the film.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he was, and the way that he did it was, he could do multiple films at once, or he would do more. Tazzle said that they would go up into Sand Canyon, which is up above L.A., kind of like the deserty looking area.
Right.
And he says they go and they would dig a pit like a foxhole, right? And then they would put the camera in the foxhole so that it was the point of view of the foxhole, right? And they would have actors all set up and run at the camera, right? And Tazzle would do an air mortar explosion. All this crap would be thrown up in the air, and they'd come over, towards the camera. And that would be one shot, and then they'd turn the camera like a quarter, and they'd do it again, and they'd come all the way 360, all the way around, and keep going. He just said that it was just the craziest stuff, and so Taz, when I started working in special effects with Taz, which we did Witchboard together and House and the Kindred. Yeah, The Kindred, but just a bunch of horror films in that period, just doing special effects, and so Taz brings me on to Armed Response, and I get to meet this guy.
Right?
And I was still new enough in the business so that there were a couple of people that I held up.
You were
as heroes.
starstruck, basically.
Yeah,
Or almost.
And he was a staggering drunk, screwed up. He had this bandolier made out of that was in costume. That was had a bunch of hand grenades hanging on it on the bandolier, and the thing is they were all little flask bottles. So he would be drinking out of this before every shot. He would be drinking out of this grenade, right? And
Wow.
so we're rigging this body, right? And we're gonna blow this body up. And so we lace it with a primacord, right? And while we're rigging it, Tazo and I are both looking around it, and we're like, I'm drilling holes in the foam and bringing the primacord around here and here. And primacord, just by the way, for those of you who don't know, it's basically an explosive. It isn't really an explosive technically, because what it technically is something that really burns incredibly fast, so fast that it looks like an explosion. Tassel used to describe it as this: if you had a piece of primacord that went all the way from New York to California, and somebody was in New York, and you knew the moment they lit it, you wouldn't have time to pull it out of your ass before it blew you up. That's how fast it burns.
It was that fast?
It was that fast. And therefore it sounded like an explosion, because it was that violent. That violence was what. So it was just this cloth-looking cord that was a hell of an explosion. So we're drilling holes and we're rigging through and just being very careful with it. And he would pass the hole. He would pass it through, and I'd grab it from the other side and go through another hole and send it back and da-da-da-da-da. And David Carradine came up behind us with a blank loaded M16 and fired it off into the air. And the two of us,
oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I swear to God, I jumped so far, and honest to God, I just knew I was dead. It's like I was just having a moment there,
Wow.
I mean, I've been through a lot of crappy things, but that was really crappy.
So he was just being a dick, basically.
No, he was just being a complete dick. So later on, we're shooting Sweeney guns. Now, Sweeney gun was it was a gun that fired a ball before paintballs.
Yeah.
But it was specifically made. It was like hand built by this guy Sweeney, and if you were a effects guy, you could rent them out from just his. I mean, he didn't sell any of them. He just rented them out, and all of Hollywood bought them all the time. Huh. And it was a clear plastic ball about that big, and you could put anything you wanted in it. You could put dust in it, and you could make it look like if you hit a brick wall, it looked like a bullet hit a brick wall. Yeah. You could put Zerks in it, which are little. Zerk is kind of like a small kind of explosive. They're what they make poppers out of.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we put, like basically what you would put in a popper, we'd put those in. We put all kinds of different things in them, right? You could put blood in them, all kinds of stuff. So later on that night, like 4 a.m, we have to shoot dust hits against a block wall. One of us is shooting dust hits, and the other is shooting Zerk hits, supposedly like on a metal surface, right?
Right.
And and we had to shoot right behind him as he ran in front of us.
Right.
And I think that we actually caught him like 3 times. Like he's like, "No, you guys are freaking amateurs! I'm so sorry, Mr. Cardine. I'm really sorry. You know, I'm so tired. It's been such a long night."
Oh man.
And oh god, we were just brutal with him. You know, it was tit for tat. That's the way that's the way it was. And he turned. And the thing is, he was such a dick. There wasn't anybody that could complain to because everybody was like, "Oh, that's so I'm sorry. Oh, that's
man.
terrible. I can't believe you guys would do that." You know, while they're clapping, right?
Right.
So anyway, so
he lived to have a horrible death.
Yeah, yeah. He's a horrible, horrible human being.
What's weird is there's a movie in post production under him.
Really?
It's just weird. I don't know. Anyway, Mata Hari.
He did. I mean, he was known for doing the cheapest films in the world. And I should talk. So.
Oh, look at that. I'm looking at
Tassos?
Yeah,
that's
Tassos'
Tassos.
IMDb page is pretty interesting.
House.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. See, that's one that I've always liked.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
I was with him on the Kindred.
Witchboard is awesome.
Yeah, right down the line. Da. Armed Response, House, Runaway Train, and then by the time we got to A Nightmare on Elm Street, I had started doing art department stuff.
Isn't House the one with the? I remember the graphic on the box was like a finger or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know why I remember that. Yeah, it is. Look.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I remember that. I remember renting that.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah,
right?
we're done with this one.
Sometimes they just die of old age.
That's right.
I'm sure that's what this one did.